Hi, guys. You're probably wondering why I have honey. Do you see my honey? I started feeling funny the other day, yesterday. And I was like, not today, Satan! I told Luke in the car, when you imagine things in your future, you always imagine yourself like top of your game, you feel really great. It crossed my mind that like, maybe the day you give birth, you have the flu, or like maybe when you're on vacation, you have allergies, like just because it happens, yeah. Everywhere we are, here we are. Okay. I'm so excited. I feel so much like excitement in my body. Okay, I gotta just get right to it. This is called Courage is Forgetting Yourself, and Amy wanted me to talk about speaking in public. Okay, so there are 4 chapters to what we're going to talk about today. Chapter 1, you don't have to start the slides yet, but you can if you want. Chapter 1 is don't take the bait. Say that. Chapter 2 is do you trust the scientist? You're all like, absolutely not. Just kidding. Chapter 3 is called You're Using Your Imagination Wrong. And chapter 4 is Start Right Where You Are. Okay, so we're going to go into chapter 1, Don't Take the Bait. Okay. And we're just going to have a little bit of a convo. I can reach the top of this board, you guys. What in the earth? Did you get a special shorty board just for me, or? Okay, let's see. Okay, I have a question for you. So when you think about speaking in public, what exactly is it about it that is frightening? It's not. Great! It's not. This lady is on fire back here. What's your name? Tina speaks. I like it. Okay, I realize the irony of this question. I'm asking what's scary about speaking in public, and in order to answer it, you have to... So, if you can think of something, but you don't want to say it, look around for somebody who looks extroverted and just tell them your thing, and then they'll raise their hand and they'll say it. Where are the extroverts? Okay, look at the people with the raised hands. Okay. I want you to give me some specific reasons. Like, let's get granular. Why is it frightening to speak in public? Wait, let me call on you. It's a jumble. Wait. Who said? Okay. Saying the wrong thing. Okay, what else? Over here. Rejection. Okay. Yep. Rejection. Judgment. What else? Forgetting what you're wanting to say. Yep. I'm going to write going blank. Okay. What else? Right here. Yeah. Okay. People staring. Don't look at me. What else? Everything. Yeah. All at once. And how do you feel in your body? Does it feel clammy? Clammy. Crying. Okay. Shaking. Nauseous. Oh, goodness. How do you spell nauseous? I feel like I'm missing a vowel. Where's the O go? Right there? Worried about spelling things wrong in front of a bunch of homeschool moms. Okay. Won't have an answer. Okay. Not making sense. Why does it matter if you don't make sense? Let's see. They'll think you're crazy, yeah. Let's see. They do already think you're crazy. Or boring, yeah. Okay. Good job. So, I have the answers divided into 3 columns here because I was categorizing what you said. It's interesting, one column is almost completely empty and then this one has a lot. So, okay. Here. Was that Shannon? What's up? Heart pounding, okay. Blacking out? Shannon. Faint. What? Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pause there. Let's see. I think I'm going to spell something wrong again. Okay. Okay, so I've written 3 words in red. I don't know if they're easy or hard to see, but on column 1, I wrote pleasure. On column 2, I wrote possessions. And on column 3, I wrote praise. Okay, there is a reason. Let's read a verse. 1 John 2:16. It says, "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world." And then 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God gave us not a spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-control." When I was thinking about and actually researching the reasons people give for not wanting to speak in front of people, I was really surprised that they kind of were able to be chunked down into what I see as the 3 ways that the enemy tempts and tries to derail us. He did it with Eve in the garden, and he did it with Yeshua in the wilderness. When Yeshua was in the wilderness, he appealed to his flesh. Aren't you hungry? Turn the stones to bread. That's the pleasure. And he appealed to, like, don't you want me to give you all these kingdoms? Possessions. And then he said, bow down and worship me. There's a battle for praise. I feel like pleasure, possessions, and praise is pretty much all he's got. Those are the big tests, right? And so with these 3 things, there are 3 lies that he puts forth, that he tries to get us to, like, take the bait on. That's why this chapter is called Don't Take the Bait. Lie number 1 is, if I'm experiencing physical comfort and pleasure, i.e. not clammy, not shaky, not nauseous, not heart pounding, not fainting, then all will be well. If my body feels good, I'm good. Lie number 2, if I have the possessions my heart desires, all will be well. Why do we go on Pinterest and just look at pretty things that we don't have and probably won't get? It's like a wistful dream that it makes you feel like, if I lived in that house, I would be everything. Or whatever, you know? Lie number 3 that he puts forth, the bait, is, if I secure praise for myself, all will be well. If I maintain praise, all will be well. Or you can take these 3 lies and, like, flip them, inverse. And this is probably what's in our head when he's convincing us not to speak up, and God wants us to. So back to the pain, the pleasure one. The inverse of that is pain / physical discomfort will destroy me. It will be my undoing. Lie number 2, losing something I care about will be my undoing. How many people remember a couple years ago when some people were losing their jobs because they didn't want to do something that other people wanted them to do? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay. But did a lot of people speak up? They didn't fall prey. Well, yeah, you're like, yes and no. Some did, some didn't, but it's that. Yeah, and then the lie number 3 is, if people don't think I'm great, that will destroy me. Like, we have a podcast, and so there are YouTube comments. Luke's like, stop reading the comments. I'll shelter you from that. I'll pre-read them. Luke is amazing, you guys. He's really cute, and I love him. And he's like, don't read the news. I'll just tell you what you need to know, and, like, don't read the comments. I'll show you if there's a fun one, because I just can't take it. But I was reading one comment. One of the podcast interviews got a little bit more views than the others, and there were a lot of people watching it who weren't Torah observant and who weren't like down with what we were talking about. And there was a person on there who was like, they just haven't read their Bibles and blah, 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 heretic, blah, blah, blah. You know, all the things that you don't want to hear people say about you. And I was getting so mad. And then I feel like God was like, you are mad because this comment is like reflecting negatively on your glory. She doesn't think I know the Bible. My husband wrote a book called The Truth. You know, like, or she doesn't think that like, you know what I mean? She thinks I'm on the wrong path. I think you're on the wrong path. Just kidding. I don't feel like that about it. I feel like we're all on our journey or whatever. But you know what I mean. How dare she? She doesn't know me, you know? And then God was like, if you weren't thinking so hard about your reputation, you wouldn't even be mad about this. I was like, oh, shoot. Yeah. Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. That's all that Satan has, pretty much. And what do these three things have in common? Who said it? Yeah, you say me? Are you? Yes. That's exactly right. What's your name? Hi, Ann. All these things have me in common. Me at the center. Me at the center. And me at the center is actually like a tenet of a religion. Satanism. Satanism. So when we have these thoughts that are like, oh, they're going to think I'm like vomiting up here. They're going to think I don't know what I'm talking about. Or like, oh, it's going to, you know, it's as if we are in your like headphones or whatever, you're playing like a satanic sermon of lies in your head. I know that's extreme. I'm not saying like if you have a fearful thought, hence you're like being controlled by Satan. I'm just saying the messaging is not from, the messaging is from the enemy. It's like how many of you ladies would like give your kid or somebody that you care about, you know, a YouTube video about like how to become a Satanist and then like just let's put this in your ear while you fall asleep at night. Raise your hand if you do that. Exactly. But we do that. I don't know, last night I was weirdly like Googling Satanism on YouTube, or YouTubing about Satanism, and I found this video with this guy in the UK who's the head of like Luke's laughing. He's like, is that what you were doing? He was the head of like the Satanist church or whatever in the UK, and they were asking him all these questions like, what's it like to be a Satanist? And he said, let me get his quote right, Satanism is a love affair with the self. It's like, wow. Which reminded me of a verse, 2 Timothy 3, 1-4. This know also, that in the last days, perilous, dangerous, bad times will come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous. Which one is that? Yep. Boasters, proud, blasphemers. A lot of them are right here, right? Disobedient to their parents. I don't know. That might go in any of them. Unthankful possessions. Unholy, without natural affection. Truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent. What? Sorry, all I could think of is like the underwear. That's not what it means, is it? I'm legit asking. What does that mean? What? Oh, okay. Oh, just things are just flowing out without any control. That makes sense. Okay. If you haven't noticed, I'm just going to involve you guys heavily in what we're doing right now because as I've talked to you, I feel like, and I'm not just saying this because it's like a thing to say, you guys are incredible. Like each person you bump into, you're like, how are you doing? And it's like, great, I just climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and like cured world hunger and I adopted 47 children and I brought my mill to mill my own grains here and like, I've been through the fire. You know, you guys are amazing. So I'm asking this because I'm trying to like draw on what there is, the wisdom in this room. Oh, she said, is incontinence of the mouth related to how the tongue sparks a great fire? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah. That's so good. So, okay, self-worship. Self-worship. I want to just breeze through really fast. When Yeshua was tested with all these things, he passed the test by answering the lie with Scripture. Actually, okay, yeah, that's what we got. Like when my little 4-year-old has like a nightmare or something, I'm like, just lay there and say your memory verses. And he's like, the Lord is near to all who call on him in truth. And I'm like, yeah, buddy, get out that sword. For time, I don't know if I'm going to go through every single verse. I'm going to ask you guys, okay, when you think about the lie of like, I'll be destroyed if people don't praise me, do any verses come to mind? We're going to do one for each. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, where God told Moses, who even made your mouth? You're good, yeah. That's great. Yes, Job, God said, were you there when I made the heavens? Yeah. Anything that starts with blessed be the Lord. So what I want you guys to do on your own time is just to like find a verse where it will shut up your particular lie. Like what do you need to shut up that lie, and then keep that on an index card and whip it out when you need it. Okay, what about possessions? If I lose something, I'll be undone. Any good verses come to mind to like shut that one up? Store up treasures in heaven. 100%, yeah. My God will supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. Yeah, I thought of this one, Luke 12:15. Take care and be on guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. We were just at a funeral the other day, or like a burial, and then you just see this person. There they go. The land and the things and the car and it's it. It's like came naked, leave naked sort of thing. Okay. The possession one, I just thought of something funny. It's random and probably not even helpful, but I wanted to tell you. So when we believe that like when we lose something, we're going to be undone or whatever, I thought of like, there was some show I was watching where they showed a wedding. It was like Bridezillas or something like that. And this one lady, in her vows, she insisted on saying, for richer and richer. I kid you not. And I'm like, wow, she's very honest. And what she was saying is, I love you, and I'm willing to sign a contract with you that has only gain and not any loss. She was giving herself an out because she knew herself. She's like, I'm in it if things are cool, but if not, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm not going to say something I don't believe. So I was like, wow, that's very honest. Because so many of the things that we wrote are in this column, I just wanted to highlight how, like, we all kind of have this internal reputation manager. And then we have, like, the Spirit of Yah. And the reputation manager is like, don't say that, quiet. And then God's like, say it. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just need to like fire the reputation manager. And because you just don't know what's going to happen if you speak up. Like I was at the kids museum with my kids. If you go without kids, that's weird. And there was a mom there with her young child, and she was kind of off by herself, and the kids were off playing. And she looked kind of like, she was kind of like sitting there, and I was just kind of sitting there. And I looked at her, and I was like, did your eyes water when you got this piercing right here? I feel like that looks so... And she was like, yeah, a lot. Because she had some interesting, she had like crazy facial jewelry. It was like wild. And I just was like, let me just ask her a question. Because I kind of want to talk to her, but I don't know like what to say. So I just picked a thing like on her face and like asked her a question about it. I was like, I love your face jewelry. And we started talking, and then I just was like listening because I'm trying to be more like Luke. He's a journalist and he cares about people. He's curious about their lives. And so I was like, let me be like Luke. And so I asked her about that, and I asked about her son, and then she just started telling me about her life, where she's come from, how she's a single mom now, and she doesn't live near family, and then we started talking about that, and then she starts telling me how, she's like, what do you do? And I was like, well, my husband and I make these documentaries, and he wrote a book, and she's like, well, what's it about? I was like, well, it's about this, a movement of Christians or believers who see Yeshua doing something in the Word, and then they see a discrepancy with how modern Christians practice, and they're trying to come back to what's just scriptural and trim the fat of everything else, just straight Bible and follow his example. And then what happens when they do that, because that causes friction sometimes. So we go through history and we hear people's stories, and she's like, oh, that sounds like something my dad would be interested in. So we just get this, we start chatting, and then it goes in a Bible-y direction. And I just was praying, and she basically just told me, I'm not close to my family, and I wish I had a set of clear directions for what to do, and I wish I had that grounding force of just knowing for sure how to move forward. She felt like she was making a lot of decisions, and it was heavy and hard. And I was like, it's funny you should say that. Because that's exactly what I feel like I found in the Bible, especially the beginning of it. It is this binary black and white code of leads to life, leads to death. It's not just your own judgment. It's you can feel solid and sure that you're getting this wisdom that brings life. It's you get to see around the corner when really we have these high walls and we can't really see what's going to happen, but it's we have this insight that gives us confidence and a rock to our angstiness. And she was like, oh, that's so interesting. And then I just got to share the gospel with her in 7 different ways. I was like, what is happening? Because that does not happen to me. I know a lady, this older lady, she's like, I'm a marketplace evangelist. And she's an older black woman, and she'll go in Walmart and be like, all lives matter because Jesus died on the cross. I'm not like that. But so this was a freak moment. But it just started with being I think your face jewelry is interesting. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you're how would I start? For God so loved the world. It doesn't have to be that rigid, you know? It's start by being a normal human being and just say hi and see what happens, right? Okay. So when we believe the 3 lies, okay. You know how in the Garden of Eden, Yah gave the instruction, he said, if you eat of this, you shall surely die. I feel Satan not only tried to undercut that, but he attached something else to you shall surely die. So he was if you lose praise, you shall surely die. And if you lose stuff, you shall surely die. And if you lose physical comfort, you shall surely die. So he also made a new rule set that actually governs a lot of our actions if we think about it. And we need to kill that. The Bible says fear not 1 billion times. I think maybe Ann mentioned that, or Heidi, or Amy, or all. 365, 1 for each day of the year. Why not? Because God doesn't want you listening to the enemy's lies and making decisions based on that. And when we believe the lies, when he hooks us in with these lies, it's when you're fishing, you have a worm. There is a worm. It's the fish does get the worm. It's not I tricked you with nothing. It's no, there's a worm. He got a meal out of it. There's a little something. You know, when the Pharisees were being all haughty, Yeshua's they've had their reward. They did get a little something out of being all puffed up. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. But having biblical discernment is knowing that with the worm comes a hook. He's trying to be you belong to me now. It's a trap. It's a trap. When God is prompting you to say something and you sit there quiet because you're I can control my feelings of discomfort and I can control people's perception of me if I don't speak. It's bondage. It feels comfortable, but it's not free. He's trying, it's when you're fishing. Are you catching the fish because you want to you're trying to eat it. Sorry, I'm just so excited, you guys. Okay, let's go to chapter 2. Ooh, I better hustle. Do you trust the scientists? I just worded it like that because I wanted to see the look on you guys' faces. Believe the science. Absolutely not. Okay, I want you to picture like a lab, and there's a scientist, and there are those mazes with like a mouse in it. Are you picturing that? And the scientist is like looking over this maze, and at the end of the maze is like a Snickers or whatever they give the mice. I'm just picking what I would put at the end of my maze. Is the scientist seeing the start of the maze? Is the scientist there at the end of the maze? Can the scientist see the mouse? Is the scientist with the mouse? Yeah. We are the mouse. Yah is the scientist. Ooh, guys, I'm about to get hyped. When he says, I am the beginning and the end, he's not moving through time with us, guys. He's not walking the same, high-walled cornfield, the same narrow maze with the high walls, and you don't know what's around this corner, and I gotta protect myself because what if there's a mousetrap on this side, and what if there's this on that side? He's not like, he's with you, but he's not like experiencing time with us. He's in the beginning of your life, and he's in the end of your life. He sees the finished product. He sees the fruit. Do you see what I'm saying? And we, the mouse, are like, I'm not sure if I can trust that there's something at the end of this maze. You're saying turn left, but that sounds wrong. Oh gosh. Before I cry, I have to make a joke to okay. Sometimes, do your husbands ever do this? You're driving somewhere where you've never been before and the GPS says turn left and they're like, that doesn't sound right. And I'm like, Luke, we're in Costa Rica. We've never been here. What do you mean that doesn't sound right? He's like, that just seems off. That just seems off. You know what I mean? He has a great sense of direction, but it's that's what we do. We are somewhere we've never been before, and we're saying, are you sure turn left? Are you sure speak up? Are you sure share my testimony? And he's like, I'm pretty sure. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you trust the scientist when he says that there is a big fat party of cheese right here if you'll only just persist? I can see where you came from. I see all the turns along the way. I'm not moving through time with you and being surprised and discovering things like you are. We gotta zoom it out. That is a truth about God that brings me great comfort. When we lose something in our house, we always pray, God, you see it right now. You know where that Lego sword is, and you will reveal it in your time. And then Max is like, found it! It was in the freezer! So not only is he there with us, seeing the beginning, seeing it finished, seeing everything along the way, and seeing the reward, but also the Word of God gives us these glimpses of how he has behaved with other people. And so we have the benefit of knowing more about him without having to have been through all those situations. It's like when you're dating someone, and then, I'm gonna see if I can mention Luke in every single point. Can you tell I like him? Okay. And I remember when we were dating and we lived in New York City at the time and we were just around all of our friends and stuff. And then one year he was like, well, why don't you come and meet my family? And so I came to Ohio to meet his family and I saw a different side of him. I saw how he was sweet with his mom and I saw how he was telling his brother a bedtime story. And I was like, he's gonna be such a good dad. And I got to know him in a different way because I saw that different facet. And the Bible is like that for us. You don't have to have been through something to know that God is faithful in a certain way. We just have to believe it. And that's why we need to speak. I've met so many of you who've been through really hard things. I'm like, how are you even standing up right now? And they're like, because God's faithful. So we can be that for one another. You can take that courage with you into the next thing because he's been faithful to Jane back there. Hi, Jane. Jane's amazing. Okay. And so let's go through a couple of these instances of what God has done for people in the Bible who have been called to speak. So first, there was a guy who's like, I can't talk that well, Moses. And what he did for him was he accompanied him with his presence. He's like, who am I? And God was like, you're someone I'm with. There's your credential. You're a person I'm with. He wasn't like what we do for our kids sometimes, like, no, you're great, you're so smart, you're so strong, you got this. He didn't say any of that to Moses. He wasn't like trying to like make him feel better about himself, which I think is kind of funny. He wasn't like trying to throw him a bone, like, oh, you're great, Moses, don't worry. He was like, no, you're somebody I'm with, it's fine. The second thing is, or the second example I thought of was with Daniel. With Daniel, when he was about to interpret, he needed to interpret this dream or die, he had to have the courage to speak up and be like, give us a minute, I'll pray, my God can reveal it. I don't know what this dream is or what it means, but in the case of Daniel, when he needed to speak, God gave him the answer to an impossibly hard question just as like a miracle so that he could get the glory. So that's something he can do. He can accompany you with his presence, like with Moses. He can give you an answer that you didn't have, like with Daniel. When I think about Peter's vision and him sharing the gospel with those guys who came to his house, he prepped Peter with a vision or with insight that would help that future interaction. So that's also something that he will do for us or could do for us. He might prepare you with just a little nugget that you need that will like be helpful later. Are we tracking? Okay. The apostles, they're like, we're not smart enough to be talking about all this Bible stuff. And he supplied them with words. The people were like totally shocked because they didn't have the credentials to be speaking with the level of truth and authority that they were. And isn't that how it works? When you don't have the credentials for it, then who gets the glory? When you stay in your comfort zone and your wheelhouse, you are in the realm of your own glory. You're in the realm of like, I can handle this. But when you step out of that, when you step out of the boat, you're in the realm of his glory. Gideon. What about Gideon? Yes. Yes, when Gideon was knocked down to 300 guys, it needed to be God at that point. And that is undeniable. Yeah. Ooh, and here's the last one. Heidi talked about this. I think about Esther and Abigail. And you might feel like that. All I have to offer right now is hospitality. They're like, Esther, what do you want? I don't know, come to dinner. Abigail, I'm gonna kill your husband. Wait, have a snack. And then like while they're eating, that gives you enough time to like get the courage. Also, it's just wise to get people in a good state before you like have a big ask. You know what I mean? So if you feel like all you have to offer is hospitality, there have been some ladies who've been in that boat too. So do you trust the scientist? That's what I'm saying here. Okay, chapter 3. You're using your imagination wrong. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. I Googled to try to find the picture of the most disgusting meal I could find online, and I found that picture right there. I want you guys to decide which of these two on the right is also food or a meal. I want you to decide which of these two you are comfortable with eating. If I just said, pick one, you have to eat one. Is that chocolate cake on the right? You don't know. We don't know. Which are you picking? Are you picking, who's eating the thing on the left? You don't know what that is. It might not be food. Okay. You guys are adventurous. It's clean fish. It's clean fish. Biblically clean, fins and scales. Does that help? Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you, Mary. I'm not eating that blurry thing. That could be anything. Okay. The reason why sometimes it's things are frightening is because we've used our imaginations to be so creative of what could go wrong. We've played out so many weird scenarios of what could happen bad, and we're so creative with that. And we haven't thought at all about what could happen that's fantastic. And so, can you go to the next slide? There's a quote that says, like, I'd rather have the hell I know than the heaven I don't, or something like that. Have you heard that? Where you're so familiar with, like, the not so great thing, you know it though, and it's comfortable, and you know that there's possibly an upside to doing something different, but it's hazy. It's vague, so, like, you're not gonna go for it. If it were me, maybe I'm just, like, risk averse, I would pick the disgusting thing on the left, because what if that's like a pile of cow poop? It's brown, it could be anything. It's like poop or chocolate. And we use our imaginations to get so specific about all the bad things that could happen if you spoke up. And you've never even taken a moment to think about what could happen that's awesome. And not just like, someone might be blessed. That's so weak, it's so vague. You're not gonna overcome these like really tempting lies with like, someone might be blessed. You have to be like, you know, the young girl who's struggling with being with the wrong guy and she doesn't want to break it off, might get free from that situation and get the courage if I share the thing that I did when I was her age, and like maybe that would change the whole trajectory of her life. It's like, we gotta like tease it out. Because you're not going to overcome something hard with a vague goal. I guess that's what I'm saying. Does that make sense? The Bible says Yeshua endured the cross for the joy set before him. The whole point of having courage is not just so that we feel holier because we did something hard. The point is there's a real upside. There are real rewards when we obey Yah and say no to the fear. But they're so vague in our heads that it's hard to choose them. Yeah, so I said Yeshua didn't have just some sick desire to be tortured and killed. He was picturing eternity with you. Wow. And whatever the New Jerusalem with all those trees having fruit every month and the water glass, the golden ground and the no nighttime and the no tears, and you know, I felt like a little while ago, I need to study like the hope. We need to know the hope we need to see it so clearly. We need to see it so clearly. Because otherwise, we have no shot at picking it. So that's you using your imagination wrong. But we're going to try to get that right, right? Okay. Chapter 4. Start right here where you are. Okay, so sometimes when I was little, I wanted to like be an actor and stuff, and I would think, I grew up like as a Christian, so I think, when I get to the Oscars, I'll stand there and I'll say, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And that's how he'll get the glory, right? Or you ask some people, if you win if I won the lottery, I would start so many charities. They say stuff like that. Everyone kind of thinks that or says that. But I realized, God kind of showed me that if I'm not just sharing him in a basic way with the people in my 6th grade class or whatever, I'm not going to thank him at the Oscars. If I'm not being charitable now and being moved by people's needs, moved with compassion, I'm not going to start being charitable when I get $1 billion. I've learned that like you in the future is just you right now, but in the future. And I would play out these scenarios of like, oh, like what if I'm martyred and like my head gets chopped off? And then Luke's like, if we die, we die, and we get a more glorious resurrection. And I'm like, how can you be so calm about it? But if I can't just, if somebody asks me about, well, why don't you eat pork? And I'm like, well, it's just the health benefits. If I say it's the health benefits, when it's really like I'm trying to obey my Heavenly Father and I kind of like ease off of it so I don't look weird, how do I even have a shot at all of standing up against the real test? When the Israelites took the land, the promised land, bit by bit, so that it's like, master this, okay, under control, now this. It wasn't like, here you go, all the land, good luck. And Yah is like a gracious father, so I comfort myself by saying he's not trying to just like break me. I just need to be faithful and like doing whatever he's asking me to do right now, and that is what will build me, get me ready for whatever's coming. If I'm not willing to just be obedient in a really small way right now, I'm not going to do it later. Don't like romanticize yourself in the future, because I feel like we do that sometimes. Okay. So stand up, if you can. In a second, I'm going to give Cam to put on some music, but here's what I want to do. We're just going to practice right now. All at the same time, we are going to just say out loud a short thing that God has done for you. Just anything. And we're all going to be talking at once so no one can hear you and there's going to be music blasting. But we're just practicing saying it out loud. Just share one thing. Or something about him that gives you comfort, or something that you've learned recently. And we're just going to say it. Because sometimes you have like insight, but it's not in your body. Like you have an insight, but then your nervous system is like, "Rrr." You have to like rewire the feelings. You got to physically like do something to help like seal in the insight. You know what I mean? Okay. So when Cam starts playing the music, I just want you guys all to like, you don't have to shout it, just speak out loud as if you were talking to someone, maybe like a younger lady or something. Just one thing that he's done for you. You ready? You ready? Okay, go ahead. Did you do it? All right. Did you do it? How'd it feel? Awesome? Okay. Start right here, right where you are. So we did that. Okay. Now we're going to take it up slightly, a notch, slightly. Take it up a notch. The words aren't coming out in the right order. I would like to invite a lady who feels like speaking in front of people has been difficult or scary to just stand with me here for a minute and have a very brief, very easy chat about maybe the thing you shared or maybe something else. I'm just going to ask you like a really easy question and then you're going to go sit down. Is there anyone who is willing? Come on. Clap for her, you guys. Yay! You can clap right here. Hello. Suzanne, hello.
Hi, Kayte.
How are you doing? Can I give you a hug?
You bet.
Okay. Okay, so tell us your name.
I go by Susie.
Okay, Susie. Where are you from?
Ohio.
You're from Ohio? Me too. Are we neighbors?
I don't know.
I'm from...
Oh, I'm from, yeah.
Okay.
You're south of me.
I'm south. Yeah. I'm not good with geography.
Well, okay.
Can I ask you a question? What's something that you just like to do for fun? Or that you're passionate about, like a hobby or something like that?
I like to sew. I like to dance. I like to sing. I like to puzzle.
We're the same person, Susie. We should be friends. And, okay, the last thing is, can you just tell us one trait of God that brings you comfort or hope?
I thought of it when I was standing there, and I forgot already. Comfort. Yeah.
Can you tell us more?
Well, I would just say more lately, I've been struggling with a relationship, and I'm learning more to take it to him, and I have to sometimes do it over and over and over again. And then, but eventually, if I can put it that way, I get comfort in putting it in him, and then he just seems to kind of, I don't know how to put it, but he brings peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys, look. That's so great. How do you feel? Like, how do you feel like your body?
I'm a little, but pretty good. I mean, hey, I can do this because he does help.
Yes. And when you came to Torah Sisters, did you think you'd be giving a talk?
No.
But you did.
Just at the table.
Just at the table, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay, guys, if Susie can do this, we can do this. Look at these ladies and just like look at it. And ladies, we're gonna even like ramp it up. Look at her really mean. Scowl. Look at them, just take it in.
I see your faces, yes.
I'm with you, Susie.
It's cool. I really appreciate what you're sharing.
I appreciate what you're sharing, which is why I'm glad you came up to talk. Yeah, let's clap for Susie. Yay! Thank you, Susie. Thank you so much. You guys, with Yah's help, it can be done. It can definitely be done. And with encouragement, like I was encouraged by what she just said. She just said that sometimes when you have to repeat, you have to keep coming back to his promises and keep saying it because you're like, either this is true or it doesn't, or it isn't. So I'm going to stay there until I feel the shift. Because if it doesn't make a difference to know God, why are we wasting our time? We have to hang on his promises. Thank you. That's so true, and we need to hear that. But if you had been like, I don't know, then none of us would have gotten that nugget, and that is the point. Okay, so I think it's almost time to wrap up. So I just wanted to end by having us get in little clumps maybe, and just praying that Yah would give us courage to share whatever it is that he wants us to share, and to have the discernment to know like when to talk, when not to talk, and that he'll supply the words, right? Okay, so you can clump up however you want. It could be like your row, that might just make it simpler, and just pray for one another just for a minute, and then we'll be all done.